It all started on a bus. I was reading, absorbed in my book, when she sat next to me. Lucy had striking blue eyes and a warm smile. She struck up a conversation, and I was charmed. Our first encounter felt like fate, a romantic beginning to what I hoped would be a beautiful relationship. Lucy and I began to see each other regularly on the bus. Our conversations deepened, and we exchanged phone numbers. She seemed genuinely interested in my life, and I enjoyed our chats. Little did I know, this was the first of many deceptions. We started meeting outside the bus too. Coffee dates, walks in the park, and late-night phone chats became our new routine. Everything seemed perfect, but I missed the warning signs. She was always available, always watching. Her attention felt flattering at first. I thought I had met someone who truly cared about me. But as time went on, her fascination grew unsettling. Our bus friendship became awkward quickly. Lucy's interest in my life was intense. She wanted to know where I was at all times. She pressed me for details about my friends and family. It felt like she was cataloging my life. One day she asked about my schedule in a way that made me uneasy. "Why do you need to know everything?" I asked. She laughed it off, saying she just wanted to be close to me. I brushed it aside, not wanting to seem paranoid. Lucy began to text me constantly. If I didn't respond immediately, she would send a barrage of messages. "Are you okay? Why aren't you answering?" Her concern felt less like care and more like control. I started to feel suffocated. Despite my discomfort, I didn't know how to address it. I liked her, and I didn't want to hurt her feelings. But as her behavior grew more invasive, I realized this was more than just a crush. Lucy's jealousy surfaced early on. She hated my female friends and grew angry if I mentioned them. "Why do you need other women in your life?" she would demand. Her outbursts were frequent and irrational. One evening, I was out with a group of friends. Lucy called repeatedly, and when I finally picked up, she screamed at me. "How can you do this to me?" she cried. I was stunned by her reaction. It was just a casual outing, but to her, it was a betrayal. Her controlling behavior escalated. She would show up unannounced at my apartment, demanding to know where I had been. She accused me of cheating, despite having no reason to. I realized her love was possessive, not genuine. I tried to set boundaries, but Lucy ignored them. She showed up at my workplace one day, causing a scene. My colleagues were concerned, but I played it down. I didn't want to admit that my relationship had turned toxic. Lucy's behavior became even more bizarre. She started taking candid photos of me without my knowledge. I would find images of myself on her social media, pictures I didn't remember being taken. It was unsettling. One night I found her pretending to be asleep in my bed. She had let herself into my apartment, using a key I didn't know she had. I was terrified. "What are you doing here?" I demanded. She played innocent, saying she wanted to surprise me. Her antics grew more disturbing. She would follow me around town, appearing wherever I went. It felt like she was always watching, always waiting. My friends began to notice and express their concerns. I felt trapped. I knew I had to end it, but Lucy's unpredictable behavior scared me. I didn't know how she would react. The fear of her retaliation kept me silent, but I couldn't ignore the growing dread in my heart. After months of turmoil, I decided to break up with Lucy. I couldn't take her controlling behavior anymore. I invited her to a public place, hoping it would prevent a scene. "We need to talk," I started, but she knew what was coming.
Sobbing, "Please don't do this, I promise I'll change. You can't leave me." She burst into tears, begging me to reconsider. She promised to change, but I had heard it all before. I remained firm, but she refused to accept it.
Her voice was chilling. I felt a shiver run down my spine. Despite my clear intentions, she continued to contact me. She would show up at my door, pleading for another chance. I blocked her number, but she found other ways to reach me. Notes left on my car, gifts at my doorstep. She was relentless. The breakups were never clean. Each attempt was met with more desperation from Lucy. I started to fear for my safety. My resolve to end things only seemed to fuel her obsession. The more I pulled away, the tighter her grip seemed to become. Even after the breakup, Lucy's stalking didn't stop. She followed me everywhere, from the grocery store to my gym. I was constantly looking over my shoulder, afraid of where she might appear next. The fear was crippling. She sent me unsolicited photos of myself, taken from a distance. It was clear she was watching me. I changed my routines, hoping to lose her, but she always found me. The psychological toll was immense. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. My life was a nightmare. My friends and family urged me to go to the police, but I was hesitant. I feared it would make things worse. However, one night she confronted me in a dark parking lot. Her eyes were wild, and I knew I had to take action. I filed a restraining order, hoping it would deter her. But Lucy was undeterred. She continued to stalk me, her behavior growing more erratic. I felt like a prisoner in my own life, constantly on edge, never knowing when she would strike next. Lucy's stalking reached my workplace. She would show up outside my office, waiting for me. My co-workers noticed and grew concerned. They advised me to take legal action, but I was already in the process. It felt like Lucy was everywhere. She sent disturbing emails to my work account, filled with threats and pleas. My boss had to get involved, and it became a company issue. The stress was unbearable. I feared losing my job because of her relentless harassment. The final straw came when she broke into my office after hours. She left a note on my desk, saying she would always find me. Security footage confirmed it was her. My company took legal action, but it only seemed to escalate her behavior. The police were finally involved. They took my case seriously, but Lucy was elusive. She knew how to avoid capture, always staying one step ahead. My life was in shambles, and I felt utterly helpless. The once romantic encounter had turned into a horror story.
Man, we noticed her hanging around a lot. It was really unsettling. We advised him to take legal action, but he was already on it. It was clear she wasn't going to stop on her own.
The police intervention provided some relief but didn't solve the problem. They issued warnings and increased patrols around my neighborhood. I felt a slight sense of security, but knew Lucy was still out there, watching. She was arrested once for violating the restraining order, but it was a brief respite. She was released on bail and resumed her stalking. The legal system seemed powerless against her relentless obsession. My hope for peace dwindled. I started documenting everything, every encounter, every message, every threat. The police advised me to keep records as evidence. It became a part-time job, tracking my stalker. I felt like I was living in a crime thriller, always waiting for the next twist. Despite the intervention, Lucy's presence loomed. I knew I had to take drastic measures to reclaim my life. The fear and anxiety were consuming me. I decided it was time to move away, far from her reach, in hopes of starting anew. Moving away was my last resort. I left behind my job, my friends, my life. It was a painful decision, but I needed to escape Lucy's grasp. I chose a city far from home, hoping she wouldn't follow. The first few months were peaceful. I started to rebuild my life, making new friends and finding a new job. The fear began to subside, and I felt a sense of freedom I hadn't felt in years. But the trauma lingered. I constantly looked over my shoulder, fearing Lucy might appear. The psychological scars were deep. I struggled to trust anyone, fearing they might become another Lucy. My new relationships were strained by my past. Despite the distance, Lucy's shadow was ever present. I checked my surroundings obsessively, always on high alert. The move gave me physical distance, but the emotional toll was harder to escape. It would take time to heal. My ordeal taught me valuable lessons about recognizing red flags. Lucy's behavior had signs from the start, but I ignored them, mistaking obsession for love. I learned the importance of trusting my instincts. I now understand the importance of setting boundaries early in a relationship. Open communication and respect are crucial. If someone tries to control or manipulate you, it's a serious red flag. Don't ignore it, address it. Self-protection became my mantra. I learned to prioritize my safety, both physically and emotionally. Seeking help from friends, family, and authorities is vital. No one should face such fear alone. My story is a cautionary tale. It's a reminder that while love can be beautiful, it can also be dangerous when it crosses into obsession. Always stay vigilant, trust your gut, and protect yourself from those who seek to control you.